Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hey kids, I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today we're going to be discussing the upcoming 2024 summer blockbuster movies that are coming out. So we're actually this episode is being released in June. This is about mid-June right now.
But we're recording on Father's Day, so we're happy Father's Day a little bit late, even though we're recording today. So it'll be out next Thursday. So yeah, right at the tail end of June.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the big blockbuster films. So we're actually going to start in May a little bit. We're going to start from there. And then we'll work our way till about early September, around Labor Day. So these are the summer blockbuster movies. We're going to do, predictions, speculations, if we think these movies are going to be actually good, are they going to be bad, horrendous, or an end, if they're going to make any money, or are they going to flop. And with some of the research Peach and I have done already, we're a little concerned because there is obviously there's many movies being released, but in terms of blockbusters, like your big summer movies, like your Jurassic Parks and, all those kind of films, there is like none. And not too many to be excited for.
It's a disappointingly small list of blockbusters. I mean, I'm looking at the list that you sent me, and it's just like I barely want to see any of these, and none of them feel like big blockbuster hits to me. I don't know, but we'll go through them and give our opinions. But just my initial reaction to this list is, ugh.
Yes. So we're actually just going to start off, like these movies already came out already. I have not seen them. I don't think PJ has, but this came out in May. So we have Mad Max 2 Furiosa and the new Planet of the Apes film. I think it's called Forbidden Kingdom or some shit. Both of those films did not do well in the theaters. And I think pretty much the films are, from what I saw from, they're actually not bad films. They're fine. They're fine. But PJ, not a good way to start off.
Well, here's my take on this Mad Max Furiosa, a Mad Max tale or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say if it's good or bad. But I've seen the trailer, and it makes it look just like every other Mad Max. I think people are a little burnt out on just driving through the desert. Every movie is the same at this point. The new one, I mean, the last one came out, 10 years ago now?
I think
it was cool because you hadn't seen Mad Max in like 100 years, and they brought you that, and you're like, all right, George Miller, I'll give you this one. But even that honestly wasn't a great movie. It was just a serviceable action movie, but it wasn't a fantastic piece of cinema.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I think one of our previous episodes we talked about overrated, underrated films, and that movie is totally overrated.
Absolutely,
Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I think it won Oscars for like sound and all that stuff is fine, but I don't really think it was like this mind-blowing action film. I thought it was good for what it was.
It was just okay for what it was. I agree. It didn't have the same charm the Mel Gibson Mad Max movies had. Those movies felt more like there was a story behind them, and you kind of cared a little bit more about Mel Gibson than you did about what the hell is that guy's name?
Well, Tom Hardy's
Tom
not
Hardy.
even. This is Mad Max Fury wasn't even about Mad Max. It was really about Furiosa, and I was disappointed about that. I'm not gonna lie. I was really looking forward to see what they're gonna do with the Mad Max character itself, and he's
barely there. He's barely a point in that movie.
Yeah. So I feel, for me, I think what hurt that Mad Max Furiosa 2, whatever it's called, hurt is, number one, they waited way too long. I think it says in the previous episode, you don't wait 10 years for a film like that. I mean, I don't understand these studios. Don't you want to make money? They only want to make money.
Capitalize on it right away.
Do it coming out with a sequel 3 years later. Max. Capitalize on that. I don't know. Aren't you in the business of making money?
And it's not as if they had to wait for technology to catch up to this movie. They've been doing this in the 70s. So there's no reason to wait this long unless the interest wasn't there. They were letting interest build up. But who cares? And it's not the same Furiosa because this is a prequel. So it's not Charlize Theron. It's I don't know.
Anya Taylor-Joy. I like her though. She's a good actress.
I don't really know much about her. I'm sure I know who she is. I think it's just one of those people I don't know by their name. But I just have zero interest in watching another race in the desert. That's how I feel about that.
It's so funny because and we'll move along shortly. But the original Mad Max with Mel Gibson, there's no the first one's very gritty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a little crazy, that first one. And when they made the Road War, which I do like, they've been repeating that one. It's almost like Terminator 2. It's like they're following a truck in the desert. That whole thing, it keeps revolving around it. And I do like
it's
Thunderdome to
starting
a
to get
degree.
boring a little bit to keep
Yeah,
watching the same thing.
and they're
I
back again
find
in the
these movies
desert.
to be exhausting because they're just nonstop, and it's like I need a break. I need some story. I need
Yeah.
something. Like I just don't want 2.5 hours of people driving nonstop in the desert. That's why I said the original one had some story to it. There was, like you said, grittiness, but the new ones are all just
And
the
you gotta
same
have.
version of the
And
same
look, I'm
movie.
keeping it real here. You need to have Mad Max in it. I hate to.
You do,
You want to
yeah,
see him. And no
yeah,
offense, I
absolutely,
like Furiosa. She was a cool character, but I don't. I want to know about Max.
right.
All these three films prior.
I agree.
Whatever you feel about Mel Gibson, those movies were cool.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
want to see what they. I was like, oh, I think Tom Hardy was a good hire in my opinion. I'm like, all right, cool. What are they gonna do with it? And you know, not even in it. But that's why I think that movie did not do well. No one had any interest. Way too many years for the sequel to come out. And yeah, we're not a good day for Memorial Day weekend because you also had Garfield. I don't know if you want to count that as a big tentpole film, but I mean, in terms of a franchise, Garfield's very big. I mean, not as big
Yeah,
as the '90s, but kind of a you got
I
to
don't know. I
that
think
kind of
they,
stuff.
I think they made a big mistake by casting Star Lord as Garfield.
Yeah, I'm burnt out with his voice.
And I did not dislike him at all in Mario. People didn't like him
He
in
did better
Mario,
than I
hated the idea.
expected in that film.
I
Way
think
better
he
than I
did
expected.
pretty good. I really had no issues with his voice, but I just don't care about him as Garfield. It should be
Yeah,
Bill Murray
yeah,
again.
he
I
was.
thought he
I
was
think he
fine.
was the one from
I thought
the
he was
cartoon.
fine in the other movies.
Yeah, from the '90s TV show. I don't know if that guy's still alive, but that guy had the real like kind of like kind of nasally kind of
Yeah,
voice. But yeah, but in May, like I said, we had Planet of the Apes. I do like the because that trilogy that came. I did enjoy those films.
I
But
did
another one,
not.
I feel like they didn't promote that film enough. And I mean, the new one, I think it's what it was called, Forbidden Planet, New Kingdom, or some crap.
The problem I have with these Planet of the Apes movies, since they've done this newest reboot, is they're not making the apes the bad guys. And it's like you're supposed to root for the humans, but
Right,
all they do is show us how shitty the humans are to the apes when they're just apes. And now the apes are rising up, and you're like, well, good, because they were mistreated. And you're not supposed to feel that way. You're not supposed to root against the humans. You're supposed to root against the apes. And they're making the humans out to be pieces of shit and the apes to be
right,
relatable characters. And it doesn't
right.
work. And it makes these
I
movies
think
so unenjoyable.
that's a good point. I think though, obviously these are a prequel, so we're seeing all these are before the
Yeah.
original. Was it 1964 one? But yeah, I think for a trilogy, I don't think for them to release another three films. I just think it was, it ended on a really great note, in my opinion. I know they want to kind of set up for when, I guess, the 1964 one came out,
Right.
but I don't know. I think it's one of those things like sometimes an idea should stay an
The
idea. I think
best
it's
thing to
just
come out of this movie has been the little monkey that says, "Oh no."
oh yeah, yeah, the meme,
He
yeah.
the meme.
Hmm.
He's the best guy. The rest of that movie, I haven't seen it. I probably won't. Maybe when it's streaming somewhere for free, if I'm bored, I'll put it on in the background. I
Yeah,
don't
that's like a
like these
streaming.
movies.
Yeah.
I just don't find them entertaining.
Hmm. But move now those were in June. And yes, June. Now we're gonna move in. Oh my God, I'm sorry. That was May. Now we're gonna move into June, kids. Now we just had Bad Boys Ride or Die come out, and look, I'm not gonna be one of those people who jumped on the bandwagon of hating Will Smith. I got burnt out with Will Smith like early 2000s when like he tried to be a dramatic actor. I don't know how this guy won an Oscar, but you know, obviously, look, he was in his prime in the '90s, maybe early 2000s. I'll give him that. Like I Robot. I don't think that movie's that good. I Am Legend. Those are fine.
His best
But after
role
that,
outside of
you know,
Fresh Prince is probably Men in Black,
oh
right?
yeah,
And
hmm,
Independence Day.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was
I
after
really like
that.
him in Bad Boys. The first one because
Yeah,
he hasn't really played a character like that since. I know he's made sequels, but his character isn't. I mean, granted, I haven't seen. I saw Bad Boys 2 a long time. I completely forgot about it. I can't even tell you what it's about. But I don't think he really carries that kind of, you know, stardom like he used to, like to really bring a
he's
film in.
not that great an actor is the biggest
No,
part of the problem. is he is not that great an actor. So when you put him in all these movies, if everything else around him isn't perfect,
Hmm.
the movie fails because he just drags it down.
He's really
Uh,
at his best when he does comedy. Like that's like Bad Boys is really a comedy action film.
right,
Like when
but
he
he doesn't
just
do
does straight
comedy anymore. He forgot
action.
how to be funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
He's one
mean,
of those
I
guys
Am
that
Legend. He
forgot how to be
was,
funny.
yeah, I mean, he was fine. But when he starts doing that dramatic, whatever, when he wants to do a dramatic part, he just kind of bites his teeth. Like he talks through his teeth. You see his films, he
Yeah,
kind of keeps like his jaw locked. But anyway, I love Martin Lawrence too, so I'm glad he's still getting roles. But yeah, that's another movie that's kind of just
yeah,
it's out. I
yeah.
don't think anyone's seen it or
No,
watched
and
it.
no
Heard
one's
it's not
gonna
that
see it
good.
because no one asked for that movie.
And that's
That's
Bad Boys 4. And folks, you're gonna notice that there's a lot of sequels coming out. So we just had Planet of the Apes, Furiosa, Mad Max, Bad Boys 4. And also, and it came out this weekend. I heard the reviews are good. I would like to see it. I love the first one. Is Inside Out 2.
I like the first one very much, so I would be
Mhm.
willing to see this one and even pay to see this one probably.
Yeah.
If I have the time, this is one I would watch in the theaters. Look, these Disney Pixar movies. Say what you want about the Disney Plus TV shows or the live action remakes. When they do these Pixar movies, they tend to always be,
Oh yeah.
at the very least, good. If they're not all
Mhm.
great, they're at least good.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
this one
So
won't be any different. It's got the same cast. It's bringing in new characters, but that it's going to be fun. It'll be a fun movie. It'll be good for a family to see it because it's one of those movies that multiple people can see, and that's why these movies make money because you're not going to take a kid to see Furiosa. So it's up to busy adults who have to go see a movie, and we're not
yeah.
going to waste money on that. Whereas Inside Out 2 will make all the money because it's going to be families going, so 4 or 5 people at a clip buying tickets.
Yeah, so I definitely think Inside Out 2 is going to make the most money for this month
Yeah,
of,
absolutely.
of June. I think it's gonna be an actually good movie. I don't know how much Bad Boys made. I think it made maybe it broke even. I think, which is good actually. I thought the movie was gonna flop, so I think it broke even from what I know. But yeah, Inside Out 2, I think it's gonna make the most money for the month. I think it probably will be the best movie of the month of June. Um, which leads us though, PJ, to another sequel.
Ugh.
it's it's a Quiet Place, day one.
I
Um,
didn't see the original Quiet Place. I'm
really?
not
Oh,
going
I
to see
saw the
this one.
first one. I saw the first.
I couldn't give a single shit about a Quiet Place. I don't want to see a movie where nobody can talk. I don't want to. I don't care. I I I don't think it's an interesting concept. I don't find anything about it worth my time, and so I've never seen one, and I won't.
Right. I think I don't know if you want to call it, I guess a sci-fi horror would be the way to
Eh,
describe it. Thriller. I mean, the first one was fine. I'm kind of burnt out with these kind of like horror films, these kind of movies. I don't like the tone. I have no interest in it. And I mean, the first one was fine for what it is, but I get turned off when you have these like horror films. And they do like those they call that shock noise
yeah,
to like startle you. I can't stand that, especially a movie like this where it's all silent basically, and they step on a twig and those things go whatever they are, some kind of alien monster thing. But man,
wasn't there one like this? Like this came out, and then they were like, "We should do one where they can't see anything," and
right?
then
Well, there was Bird Box. I don't know if that
that's
came
right.
out before, with
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock.
Yep.
That movie was like half good, like
Yeah.
you only watched it because it came out on Netflix, I believe.
Yeah.
And I remember when it came out, I was like, and it kind of really reminded me like a Twilight Zone episode that they expanded to a full length film. So Saliva doesn't work, but it's like one of those movies where I say like, yeah, while you're watching, like I'm not really totally loving this, but you just want to see how it ends.
Right.
It's like one of those movies.
I feel like that movie only exists because they were like, well, if they can do it without talking, we can do it without seeing. And it's the same movie, and I didn't see that one either. It feels like it lacks creativity to me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's all right. Well, we won't let them talk, and we'll make that a movie, and no one's ever seen this
But
before.
how
Like,
many? But here's the thing, PJ. You said it with Mad Max. How many times you gonna do the same story? It's like instead of
right,
having a truck, you gotta do the same thing. Everyone's gonna be walking around in a house or in a field. They can't knock
right.
over a Pepsi can. you know, and you already
It's
know it. You already know the beats. And then they're gonna
right.
make it waste. They're gonna make it to some kind of safe haven. But Yeah,
I
but
don't
it's
see it
crazy
making a
how
ton of money. I don't see that one making a ton of money at all.
see just for May and June you have, and these are, like I said, these are big films. So one, two, three, four, five sequels. Just for those 2 months combined, five big. These are
Yeah.
blockbuster films
And
that
then
are.
we're gonna get into July, and there's more sequels coming.
Okay, so Peter, my last question is: we think Inside Out's going to make the most money.
Yeah.
Do you think Quiet Place is going to be at least a solid film, and if you think it's going to make money?
Um, uh, it'll probably make some money, and I think it'll break even for sure. I
Yep.
don't think it's gonna be a huge hit. There's an audience for these kind of horror movies that
Yep.
show up regardless of how
Course.
bad they are.
Hmm.
So it's not gonna lose money for the studio, but I don't think it's gonna light up the box office.
Yeah, I think it actually might. Out of the ones for June anyway. For June, it's Inside Out 2, Bad Boys, and then this one I think Inside Out's number 1, and I think a Quiet Place is going to come in number in terms of movie money making,
Yeah.
in terms of box office. Um, but yeah, that's another one. It's coming out 2 weeks or so, and it's like, where's the promotion? Don't these people want to market their films? I mean, I don't know. I know it costs money to do that, but don't you want to make money? What are these people doing? And they're
It's
going to be
like,
on streaming like in 3 weeks, which is
yep.
insane.
And then
Uh,
the thing is too, like trailers aren't the way they used to be.
no,
It's
I
like
agree.
it's not the same. It used to be you'd see a trailer, and it would really like get your interest. You're like, I want to see that movie, but they wouldn't have like 47 other trailers following it, so you'd have to go see the movie. But now they have so many trailers, and there's like countdowns on social media to the trailer release, and there's just almost more hype about the trailer than the movie. They give so much of it away that
Mhm.
if you were on the fence and maybe thought you were going to see it, you might not see it because they've had so many trailers that make you feel like, you know what? I don't care about this movie anymore. I've seen enough of it to know I'm not going to like it. They're not leaving. You have to have one, like a teaser trailer, and then one full trailer that really leaves the audience wanting more. If you want them to go to the theater,
Yeah,
if you do four or five trailers of the same movie and they're all showing different scenes and they're 3 or 4 minutes each, I've seen half the movie.
yeah. I think the biggest issue with trailers for probably 20 years now is number one, they give way too much of the plot, and because I think Quentin Tarantino talked about, like, imagine if you came out with The Matrix today, they would spoil what The Matrix was. You
Exactly.
didn't know
Yeah.
what the whole trailer was. What is The Matrix? And you went to
Right.
see the movie to see what it was. But one of the things I really miss with trailers, bro, is actually voiceover trailers. Remember, like,
Mm.
coming this fall, like
Yeah.
this summer. I know it's like almost cheesy, but like that amped it up. Gave it,
Yeah.
like, call it word of mouth. You know what I mean? The new
Mm.
film starring. They always say we're running out of movie stars. I think you're not promoting the stars. The new Leo DiCaprio film.
Right.
Titanic. You gotta bring that stuff back. Anya Taylor-Joy. What's this guy? The guy who played Thor,
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth, as whatever his name is,
Right.
Doctor Doom in Furiosa 2. Like, you gotta. I think you need to bring that back. I think that
Yeah.
eventually will, because Hollywood's a bunch of copycats, so someone's
Yeah.
gonna make a trailer,
And
maybe
then everyone's gonna
mocking
do it
it.
again.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
but I really think we missed those voiceover trailers. Like, remember the Disney? You had that guy who was like, he used to do the home video Disney thing, like,
Yeah.
but they used to make trailers like that. A story of a little girl, who looked for a wish, made a wish. But, yeah. So, folks, now we're gonna roll into July. Okay, and
July, which is probably based
this
on the list that we have, probably the biggest of the summer months
yeah, and
with
probably the
movie releases.
strongest. I'll say the strongest
Yeah.
list for I think movies that I would most likely see. So we'll start off with this animated film. I can't believe there's four of them. Is actually Despicable Me 4.
It's
PJ.
crazy that there's four, and plus they made Minion movies,
Exactly.
so there's really more than four if you think about it. But they
Yes.
usually are pretty good. I actually like the Despicable Me franchise.
Yeah. No, they're good.
Yeah.
No, I agree. They're a lot of fun. I knew when I saw the first one, when I saw the minions, I'm like, oh, they call it a
Yep.
breakout character. I'm like, oh,
Yep.
that's gonna, that was spin-off central right there. And they're great characters. They're so funny. But yeah, I think that movie's gonna be. I haven't seen. I'm trying to think. Which Despicable Me is it when he fights that guy who wears like an orange like jump? He's like a
I
mushroom
think
cut.
that
Is that
I
is
think
that
that's the
three or is that
third
two?
one.
It is the third. Okay, I like that
right?
one.
Isn't that the one where he's not really a villain anymore or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's the third one.
Okay, okay.
But those movies, they're all fun. The
Hmm.
the animation is actually great. They don't get the credit they deserve for how clean their animation is. I think that's Illumination that
Yeah.
does these,
Hmm.
and they have really clean art, crisp colors, uh, and it's not Pixar, so everyone it kind of always gets lost in the shuffle. But I think
Agreed.
Illumination does really good work. So does DreamWorks, honestly.
Yep.
They're both studios that produce high quality animation, and in a movie like this, the animation means more than people think. Like
Yeah.
it has to be crisp, it has to be clean because you're going up against a Pixar, right? Like we have Inside Out coming out in June, and then July you're going to have Despicable Me, and if it had a noticeable drop, it would make the quality of that film really just not hold a candle to it. But it doesn't because it is so strong,
Yeah.
and the writing is great on these movies. They're good for kids and adults. The characters, like you said, are great. I actually think Despicable Me will make a good amount of money, and I think it deserves it. I think that's one of the better animation franchises outside of a Disney produced movie. Despicable Me may be on the top of that list,
Yeah.
even more so than like a Shrek.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, absolutely. No, yeah, I think I agree. I think Despicable Me is going to be a very good film.
Yeah.
Probably just as good as Inside Out, and
Mhm.
in terms of some of the best films of of the summer. I think in terms of just story itself, it's probably be honestly the animated films.
Yeah.
Inside Out, Despicable Me.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think this movie's going to be solid. I agree. They don't get they live in the shadow of Pixar, you know. But DreamWorks, I think the original Shrek came out like what 2002, 2003, and that film
Yeah.
still looks damn good.
It still does. Yeah.
Um, and I love the spin-off with Puss in Boots. I saw
Yeah.
I think it's the third one. Like Last Wish. That movie was awesome. It was so good. So, and I like those Despicable Me movies. They're so funny, you know.
They are. They're very funny. The characters are great. The spin-off movies with the minions are great. And like you said, the minute you saw the first minion, you're like, well, these guys are going to be
Yep.
just huge, and they are. They're like the mascot
Yeah.
of Universal at this point. They're everywhere.
Mhm.
And it's because of how well written and how well performed the
Yep.
characters were. I think that's not going to be the biggest movie in July, but it's going to be one of the better ones of the entire summer.
Right. So before we get to the biggest movie of July, I actually want to talk about this film. So these are all movies that are released in theaters, but I felt this movie should be included in the summer blockbuster list. It's coming out on Netflix. It's Beverly Hills Cop. I think it's called Axel F or Axel Foley. Obviously with Eddie Murphy. Um, I think this is the fourth film in the franchise. And I'm not gonna lie, I always love these films, and I like the third one. I know people give that one a hard time, where it's like he's like at a music park or something.
Yep.
I like that one. I know people. I thought. I mean, as a kid, I mean, I haven't rewatched it since I was a teenager, but I really enjoyed it. So, um, and PJ, I'm curious. Have you seen the trailer for this?
I have. I have seen the trailer for it. Yep.
I think it's going to be well. Number one, it looks like Netflix put a lot of money into this.
It
You
does
know,
look like they spared no expense.
yeah, and I didn't see sort of another Eddie Murphy film that came out on Netflix, but I didn't see it look terrible, and the reviews were not good. Coming to America 2, which I feel like was
I
such
I
a
did not watch that either.
it looked horrendous, and the reviews were not good. And it's like one of those things where I saw the trailer, I was like, why would you go with that storyline? You know, I mean, this is not a review of that film. I haven't even seen it, so I can't do it. I'm just basing it off the trailer itself. I'm like, I can't do it. This movie, I can tell by the trailer, it looks like it's going to be better than that film, Coming to
Hmm.
America 2. And yeah, it looks like it's got a look good action sequences in it. You know, they
It's
brought
bringing
back a lot
back
of.
it's bringing back Judge Reinhold. You're
Mhm.
getting the cast you want. So the name I think is really the worst part of this. Axel
Agreed.
F. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
Why is it Axel F? Like I know why, but it's his name. But why?
yeah.
Why is that the name of the movie? It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't sound right. Unless is like Judge Reinhold really going to have a small part? Is he not going to have a partner that's in the whole movie, and it's
Hmm.
really just him? Because then, if that's the case, I think it's not going to do as. It won't be as good. I'll put it that way. It's. I think he needs a cast around him at this point in his
Yeah.
career.
Hmm. Yeah. I just really hope with that film It's just fun to watch. It
Yep,
doesn't need to be better than the other films. It just needs to be fun to watch. And I think they could pull it off if they,
I think so too.
do
And
everything
I don't
right.
have to pay to watch this movie, so
Yep,
there's no reason not to watch it. I'm already paying for Netflix.
exactly. So, yeah, I wanted to highlight that. So, the next film, which I do think, and I agree with PJ, this is going to be probably the one that makes the most money out of the
This is the
summer.
biggest film of the year. Of the year.
Exactly.
I'm gonna
Mm.
call it that. This is the biggest film of the year.
Oh,
Whether it
really?
deserves it or not, it will be.
Really? Okay. See,
I think
I
so.
disagree. Because many months from now, in I think November or December, you have Joker 2. So I think that's gonna take, in
No,
terms of box office.
I don't think
Okay.
that movie will take the box office more than this.
Really?
Yeah, if my comic book sense serves me well, if my Spidey sense serves me well, this is going to be the biggest movie of the year.
And
Um,
the, and that biggest movie, folks, is obviously Deadpool and Wolverine.
yeah, there's too many things going on for this movie for it to fail. Because look, people love the Deadpool movies to a fault. They're not that great. People love them. It's bringing back Hugh Jackman, which we never
Oh
thought was
yeah.
going to happen.
Yep.
So now
hmm
all those people are coming back. It's the first. And we don't know how they're going to do it, but it's the first time we're going to see mutants involved in the MCU, which people have been waiting for since the first Iron Man came out. Um, there's just too much going on for this movie for it to flop, and whether or not it's good or bad, I can't say. Who knows until we see it. I didn't really love the first two, so I don't have faith that the story is going to really win me over. But I'm certainly going to go see it.
Yeah, I think I think number one is to make a whole lot of money,
So
and
much
number
money.
two, here's the thing. I did not love the honestly, I was pumped up for Jackman being back, but I saw the trailer. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling it. I'm a little worried to tell you the truth. Because I
Well,
did love
here's
I love the
yeah.
first two. I do. And look, I think people don't forget this. I think what helps these Deadpool movies is that they're actually comedies. These aren't an
hmm
action film. They're not
Right.
supposed to be taken seriously. It's really a goof on superhero
Yep.
films. Obviously, it breaks the fourth wall like Deadpool does in the comics. Um,
So the
but
rumor of the plot, and I don't know if this is true, so maybe spoilers, but
mhm,
it's a guess on the internet, so who really knows, is that this version of Hugh Jackman Wolverine is not the same Wolverine that
yep.
we've been watching in all the other movies, and
hmm
it's that somehow or another he failed to save the X-Men or do something with the X-Men. Um, and so that's why he wears blue and yellow now. He's taken the colors of the X-Men and made it his own costume to honor the X-Men that he felt like he failed. I guess maybe
right.
they all die. I don't know, because like I said, it's all a rumor. Because we've never seen Hugh Jackman in a superhero costume unless you
Yeah.
count the black leather from the original ones. But even
hmm
then, it
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
really a
Yeah.
superhero costume. And they're saying they're putting a lot of emphasis on why he's in that costume. So it's going to be different. It's going to be Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but it may not feel like the Hugh Jackman that we've been watching since what 2001.
Yeah. hmm
So it'll be interesting. I think that's why he doesn't feel quite the same in the trailer. To your point, where you say something was off about it, it's because he's not playing the same character.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't really have an issue with him. It's really more with the stories, like how, like you said, how they, I guess he's from another universe. I'm very tired of these different universes. Um, but it's something about it just seems like forced. And one of my things I don't like about I don't really love Ryan Reynolds to begin with. I mean, I think he's funny in his films, but he's really one dimensional in all his. Like in the movie, what was it called? He's like in a video game movie. Oh,
Oh, I can't think of the name. I
Fun
know what you're
Guy or
talking about.
something like that,
Yeah,
or Free
the
Guy, Free
free
Guy.
guy.
You know, but he always plays the same, like, "Hey guys, how you?" Almost like a variation of Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
and I know he produces a lot of these films, and if you ever notice a lot of his movies, he'll pick a pop song, like a '90s one, and he kind of uses it to like boost the film. Like kind of for him right now, I feel it's kind of like paint by numbers, because like in Deadpool, the first one, I think he used the song by Juice Newton.
Yeah.
Oh, Angel of the Morning. And then number two, he had Celine Dion do a song, and just a like Free Guy. I think he used like a Mariah Carey song, Fantasy. He always has like a theme song. It's always like kind of like the comedy, and it's always just, and I don't know, this movie, I just feel like when I saw it from the trailer, I didn't really laugh out loud. It seems very kind of forced. And
Well, this is they had to submit. Ryan Reynolds submitted something like 18 versions of the script to Kevin Feige before Feige would approve approve the script. So that just tells you that how many times they've
Oh
changed this and
God.
rewritten it to get it even greenlit, right? So when and I think the difference now is the Kevin Feige factor, the MCU factor. The first two movies, and I don't like Deadpool as a character, which is why I didn't like the movies, but those movies felt very true to the character. Kevin Feige is not gonna, despite them making this an R-rated movie and saying, "Oh, it'll be Deadpool," you're not gonna bring that kind of character into the MCU, because
Yeah.
then if you do it that way, you'll never be able to use Ryan Reynolds again in the movies because
Hmm.
they're never gonna have that. They're not gonna have that level of an R-rated movie when you're trying to make a Captain America movie. They're not going to do it. It's going
Yeah.
to limit the amount of money it's going to make, and they want to sell toys to kids. So
Hmm.
I think it's going to feel very watered down, but it's still going to make all the money.
Yeah. I think it's gonna make a ton of money, and I think it's gonna be the weakest of the three films, and I don't know. I'm just not getting. I really love that trailer that came out. I'm just getting bad vibes. Just seems I'm getting tired of the like I said, the expanded universe, and I don't know, something about it just didn't seem right. I didn't really laugh out loud with the trailer because the other ones, like I said, I enjoyed the first two. And I don't really love his. I don't love Deadpool prior to that movie coming out. Even the comic, I thought he was fine. I never really had an interest in reading him
Right.
or looking him up. I just no interest in him. You know what I mean? To me, it just didn't. I mean, it is what he is. He's really a comedic character
Yeah.
of
Well,
the
the
comics.
character was a spoof on a DC character.
Yeah.
They made it as a joke, and
Yep.
somehow it blew up, and now we're forced into watching three movies of his. But look, I hope it's good. I want the mutants to get introduced into the MCU in a way that feels entertaining, and I don't know if this is going to do it or not.
I
It
think.
looks like they have some Doctor Strange stuff going on in there. You saw the portals and stuff like you saw in
Yeah.
Endgame.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't
Yep.
know how much is going to be tied into the MCU or not, but I'm hoping for the best. But I agree, it didn't look like the best trailer. Hugh Jackman seems off because he may not be playing the same version of Wolverine. It's still going to make the most money of the year.
Yep. And I heard that Ryan Reynolds wants to be like almost like the new Stan Lee, where he makes a cameo in every film as like
Right.
whether it's Deadpool just in the background, like having a cigarette or something, you know, but he's gonna be there. But to tell you the truth, PJ, even though I'm very psyched up for Deadpool and Wolverine, another film that I actually want to see in theaters. I don't know why. It's another sequel of one that come out 20 years more than that, maybe close to 30 years now. It's actually it's called Twisters, which is a
Yes.
sequel to the original Twister, with Bill Paxton. Um,
I got a bad feeling about this movie.
I think the guy from he's kind of like another breakout character or breakout star, I should say, is the guy from Top Gun. I think is in it. The new
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick. I think his name's Glenn in real life. Glenn something. Good looking dude, jacked. Um, I think he's in it. So, and obviously, look, we know it's going to be basically a remake of the original. The storm chasers. You know, they get caught in a tornado. There you go.
I
Um,
don't. Is any of the original cast even in this?
I honestly, I don't even know who
Because I
else.
feel like I didn't
Who else
see
was
any of them in
Laura?
the trailer.
Who was in this film? Let me look it up real quick. It
Who
was
was in the
Laura
new one?
Dern. Who was the? Who was? Oh my God. Who was? What's her name?
It was wasn't it Helen Hunt?
That's it. I couldn't think of her
Yeah.
name. Yep. Um,
And I don't think she's in this, or maybe she is, and I haven't seen her in
maybe
any
she's like
of
a secret.
yeah, I haven't seen her in any of the previews that I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the other
I'm
guy is dead, so he can't be
Philip
in it.
Seymour Hoffman. Yep, he's dead. You might have was it Carrie Ewells, the guy from Princess Bride?
I don't
Um,
think he's in this one.
so
I mean, it's an all new cast. It's tough to call it a sequel when there's no one from the original in it. But also,
yeah.
like, how I mean, you can only chase. I feel like chasing storms is a young man's game, right? So, I mean, is Helen Hunt really going to go around chasing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tornadoes? It would be a little
Hmm.
ridiculous. But
You think
the
they're gonna mention any kind of like of those characters? Like I don't remember their characters' names, like a Bill Paxton character. Oh, that he invented the
I mean,
spinamajiggy
maybe if
that
it's their
goes in the
kids, maybe if the characters are supposed to be their kids or something. But you got to figure in, like you said, it's been close to 20 years. Someone invented something better than Bill Paxton did. So
right.
it's if
Yeah,
they start,
like a drone that goes in there.
yeah. So if they're, it'd be very forced. which is maybe why they're not
The thing the
mentioning
thing
him.
that the thing that always turns me off with sequels or sequels like this that are like, like these blockbusters, I always get very turned off when they just recreate a scene,
Right. Yeah.
and I just feel like
Like
don't
there's gonna
tie
be a
yourself.
cow flying across the screen at
Yep,
some
and
point in this
they're
movie.
gonna, and I hope they don't do like the big stuff, like where they're gonna like like use a belt to tie against like a foundation, and like
Yep.
they're spinning around. Like I mean, they're probably gonna do that. I just hate when movies do that, where these like especially like classic films, they add like remember Dumber and Dumber? They made a sequel,
Hmm.
um, and they do another shitting scene. I'm
Yep.
like, you didn't have to. Like, it ruins almost the first one. You can't recreate. Make something new.
Right.
And I just really can't stand when movies do that. It always sucks me out. I'm like, are we really doing this? I can't stand that.
So here's the reason
I think
I
it's such
might see
no
this movie
effort.
though.
Mhm.
Here's the
I want to
reason
see it though. I'm not gonna lie. I want to see it.
I might see it, but in the theaters. But the thing for me is David Corn Sweat. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Is in this movie, and you might be saying, "Who's that?" That's the new Superman. And
Oh.
I don't know anything this guy has done. Um,
Mhm.
so I might go see this movie just to see if this guy is a decent actor to kind of prepare myself for what I'm getting into for the new Superman movie when it comes out next year. Because I have to believe this is his biggest role in his career prior to Superman coming out. And I'd like to see if he's going to be a decent actor. So I don't know how big his role was in Twisters. I just know he's in it. And
Mhm.
and that to me is more intriguing to learn more about the guy who's going to play Superman than I am intrigued by the plot, and that's a problem. I think if like
Well, we don't
I'm
know the plot. They're gonna be chasing
uh,
storms and
right, but that I think is a reason to see it to try and get a feel for how this new Superman guy is going to be since he's in this movie. And if I see a cow fly across the screen, I'll
Mhm.
probably I'll probably enjoy that too.
Yeah. I'm hoping. I know this is not gonna happen, but I'm hoping like for Twisters. I hope. I mean, I said what they're gonna do is probably just chase storms and something happens. They're gonna do some kind of research thing. I
Yeah,
hope for this one. In a perfect world, PJ, in my mind, it would be like they know where tornadoes come in, they chase it and they come back and they almost reference the first one. Like we're not gonna do the thing we did in 1996 when, they almost died. But then you realize Grandma is still at her house. They have to do like a rescue mission. I think that would give it something. I mean, I don't know if there is a rescue mission. This is just me
only if Grandma's
speculating.
played by Helen Hunt.
Right. She could play it. She could play a senior. I think she's got to be
Yeah,
60 now.
yeah.
Um. Anyway, yeah, that's so, folks. That was July. Those are your big mama jammers in terms of the major blockbusters. I think most people are
Uh,
excited for. Now, which I usually say for someone's that is August is when you start to put some of your big ones, but not super big ones. So I actually want to start off with this one, PJ. I'm not sure if this is a giant film, but I just thought it was cute. Harold and the Purple Crayon is coming out, so I was
yeah.
excited. I'm just excited to
I
hear
mean,
about it.
it looks awful, but I may see it because the book. I
Yep.
loved the book
Mhm.
as a kid, so I may wind up seeing it. It's the dude that plays Shazam, right?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so it looks like Harold uses his purple crayon and draws a door to the real world and walks out, and now he's just a regular person, maybe? Or is he just Harold and he's always had a purple crayon?
I think he's always had that. I'm gonna say he's always had the Purple Crayon.
So
I
in
think.
real life, we're saying that he's always been Harold in real life, and
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
always had the crayon and he grew up. So it's not like he's walking out of the book into the real
yeah.
world. He's
That's what
just
I'm thinking.
Harold and he's always had a magic crayon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that'd
Yeah,
be more interesting anyway, more
yeah,
fun. I think it'd be easier to pull off anyway.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, I think that movie's gonna make. I don't think it's gonna break even. To be honest, I think it might just break even. You know what I mean? Like a Garfield. They make
I think it's
Garfield
actually going
one.
to make a couple of bucks.
I think it might be cute. Not mind blowing. It'll be cute. Um. Anyway, for folks, um, I'm gonna go to this one, PJ.
Okay.
First, it's an Alien Romulus, which
So
is
tired of
another.
alien movies.
Oh, thank you. Uh,
Who gives a shit?
I
We get
mean,
it. There's an alien. It's going to be angry. It's going to spit something on somebody.
right,
Something's coming out of his stomach and see. Like, who cares?
PJ. But here's the thing: you said when we first started the show, it's the same beats. Instead of having a truck going through the desert or them chasing a storm. They're going to be either in a spaceship, you know,
Yeah.
confined. They're not going to know what it is. It's going to burst through the chest. I mean, and these movies have been, I think the last, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of like hate for this, but I think the last fun, I'm using the word fun here, alien film was Alien versus Predator, because all the other ones after that have been horrendous.
And that movie was terrible too.
I think it's not that bad. It's fine. It's good for what it is. I'll say that. It's good for what it is. You know, if you're gonna be eating your lunch and you want to just fart around your house, you have something on. I still enjoy Alien versus Predator. Um, but all those other ones that came out, like Alien
Uh,
3, is not very good. Alien Resurrection, not good.
there's so
Alien
many.
Prometheus had potential, in my opinion,
Didn't
but
they
then
try to like convince us Prometheus had nothing to do with aliens, and then you saw it
yeah,
and you were like, "Oh, so it's Alien?"
yeah. And then I can't remember. Then there's another one that came out. I can't remember the name. Anyway, they were just exhausting. I mean, I'm exhausted from these films, and I mean, like you said, I don't feel like saying that stupid thing. Spit at me. Get
No,
out of
it's
here. Just
every movie is the same.
it's I mean,
Everyone. I'm
and
done with them.
the crazy thing is, you think they would have a change of tone. I'm not saying to make this out of a comedy, but like you're doing the Prometheus style and the other ones. I can't remember the names. You know, that whole kind of like they're trying to make it gritty. I want to be like, you know what? Do what James Cameron did. Just make a straight up action film. Just go back to that. It'd be more fun and enjoyable. You know, make like a Metroid kind of thing. Do that. I think you need that change of tone. They're making too much of this
I
horror.
wish that
That's
that thing would jump on my face and kill me while I'm watching the movie, so that I don't have to see it. I, I,
PJ wants a
I
literally a face hugger. Yes.
That's right. I mean, who's making this movie? Do we even know? It's not.
It's not Ridley Scott.
No, it's not
I
Ridley
think he
Scott.
gave
Let's look
up.
it up. Let's look it up so we could talk about this guy for a minute.
I mean, my God.
Fede, Fede, Feed, Fede Alvarez. Let's see. Has this guy done anything we've given a shit about? Probably not. Let's see. He. I don't know. I don't care what he wrote. What did he direct? Did he direct anything? He was the writer on the 2022 hit Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
Great. He wrote Don't Breathe 2, not the first one, the second one.
Mm.
Oh, he wrote the first one also.
Okay.
He wrote the 2013 Evil Dead. Did you see that piece of shit?
No, I had no interest.
Yeah. So as a writer, I'm not impressed. As a director, um,
I I
nothing,
think I
nothing that
just
matters.
I think this I think no matter who you get on this film is not going to save it. I really do think you have to do making aliens like James Cameron made. You need that kind of tone
But
because this horror, super science fiction, very heavy on like mythology and
I just don't
not
understand. He takes a
politics, but very
franchise film like this and gives it to someone who's like a nobody. Like this is, I don't know that I would take a chance on my big blockbuster
I don't
franchise
think
hit with a
anybody
no name.
wants to do it because it's been burnt out. Everyone's like, "Well, you can't do anything different." Like I said, I'm repeating myself here, but they really need to just do a James Cameron straight up action film. They should just make it like Starship Trooper, where they go into alien with a bunch of aliens and they just, that's it, or
or
maybe,
just or just don't even make it.
yeah. So, I don't think that movie's gonna make money though. I think Carol and the Purple Crayon's gonna make more money than Alien Romulus. I think the biggest flop of is gonna be, honestly, I think it's gonna be Alien Rom. I think it's gonna flop. It's going to flop. And which brings us to the last big film of August, and it's going to be the remake that no one wanted of The Crow.
It's gonna be
Um,
so bad.
that trailer, one word to describe it for me is horrendous. I mean, they're trying to know what it looks like. Looks like they're trying to do like a John Wick meets Venom meets, I don't know what they're trying to
It
do.
just doesn't look like The Crow.
What they're trying to do here, but
I mean, the Skarsgård has come out and said he doesn't like the ending of the movie. When the Crow, the actor of the Crow, is like, we failed at the end. It doesn't give me a whole lot of hope here, and he doesn't look like the Crow. And I know they wanted to look different. He looks like a really sad Post Malone. I don't
Yeah.
know. None of this feels like it should have happened.
What
They've
my
It's just that they've tried so many times, and each time it never happens because everyone realizes at some point, well, this is a terrible idea. What makes this one better that they didn't just cancel this from happening? Because we're
no,
all going to see it. It's going to make money because we're all going to see it, even though it looks terrible.
yeah, I agree. I think what they need to do is I actually haven't even seen this film, but I love the Predator franchise. I love the first Predator's like one of the best films of all time, in my opinion. But I didn't see it, and I think they should have released it in theaters because I think it actually would have made a lot of money. Was Prey, but
I
the
heard that was good.
yeah, but the idea, which I like, is supposedly what they're going to do this now as a franchise, what I think is way smarter. Instead of just redoing the same shit all the time, having a Schwarzenegger character, you have a different time periods.
Mhm.
So I think the next one's going to be like in the Old West or some crap, or the Civil War or something like that. And I think with this film, The Crow wouldn't have been cool if they did this like during 1776, where
Mm.
like wouldn't it be cool, like, you can still call him Eric Draven, but have him, instead of having machine guns, you have them using like a musket or
Right.
like a bow and arrow.
Honestly,
Same could be a
I
little
could
bit
see
more
it working
different.
as a real samurai type of film.
Exactly. You could put it in anything. You could make The
Yeah.
Crow literally different time periods, or just use the same mystique. Someone happens and you
Yeah.
know what's like what was the thing, something happens terrible and God looks the other way for you to
Yeah.
do your revenge. You could use that for any time period, use the same concept, um and just run away with it. I think that, like an anthology, I think that would have
Yeah.
been more interesting. I think with the Predator franchises, which should be doing, but I think this movie is going to make, I think it might break even in terms of money, but
Oh,
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
going
going
to
to
be
make all
all
the money. I think it's going to make
really.
a lot of money because there are so many people that are going to go see it just because it's The Crow, and morbid curiosity will bring people in there. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm probably gonna see this in the theaters, and I have
Oh, I'm
no
going to
hope
see it in
that.
theaters because I want
And
to
I think
just,
it looks
yeah.
terrible, but I just want to see it. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of people that are gonna, one, go to watch the train wreck, or two,
I
just
think
to.
the first week it's going to make money. And after that, it's going to drop, in my opinion, because you're going to have people like us who love the original. um, but yeah, then I think it's really honestly going to drop. I think it's going to make the most money for August. I agree with that,
Oh
but
yeah,
I do not think it's going to last for weeks. Unless it's amazing, which I doubt. Um, but yeah, guys, those are the biggest films for August, and PJ and I included September because you have Labor Day. So the two big films, and we'll start with the animated film. PJ and I did some research before, so appears they changed the name. So it's actually called Transformers One, correct, PJ?
yes, Transformers one,
Transformers One.
and I
Okay.
believe Hemsworth is getting a second bite at the summer blockbuster apple with this as the voice of Optimus.
So yeah, which I think is a smart move. They're doing an animated film because I'm already burnt out with the Transformers thing. Um, but I think an animated film is actually a better idea because you could probably do a lot more with it.
And I think it's going to
And
be like an origin of
yeah,
the Transformers
Cybertron.
sort of
Yeah.
movie. And I'll tell you, the cast for this movie though is good. It has Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. I don't know who she's playing, but Scarlett Johansson is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan Michael Key is going to be Bumblebee. John Hamm is in it. Lawrence Fishburne is in it. Steve Buscemi's in it. Not an all-star cast.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds
it's
good. I think it's gonna
it's a
be
shame
I
the
think.
movie's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I think I haven't seen any trailers, but I hope it's solid. I feel it might
Mm.
be because I love the Super Mario film that came out last year. That's not a
Yep.
perfect film, but it's like a good, in my opinion, a good 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
I
I
think
like
this,
that Mario movie. I thought it was super fun.
yeah, and I think Transformers one could be like maybe a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10. It'll be decent. I'm hoping it's gonna be decent. I don't think it's gonna be a horrendous animated thing. I think it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Um, which leads us to probably the biggest film of September, though. Another sequel, Beetlejuice 2, or Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Yeah, I look. They have my money. The minute they said it was coming out, they had my money. I was. I'm definitely going to see it. I love the original Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I don't know that I buy Jenna Ortega as
Mm,
the star. I don't dislike her. I think she's great in Wednesday. I loved Wednesday. I thought it was a great show. I've seen her in a few other things. I think she's a good actress. I don't know. She's not. She, I don't know. I just feel like she plays the same role over and over.
Yeah.
So I'm was a little disappointed in that. But they're bringing back what's her face, Winona.
Yep.
She's coming
Hmm.
back. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. I I don't know if it'll be great, but I think it's worth watching. It's worth going to the theaters to find out.
Agreed. Agree with that. I do think this will be the highest grossing film of September, and probably one of the biggest of the year. Just based off that trailer, though, not getting good vibes. I like the
It,
teaser trailer. I am confident in Michael Keaton. And
mhm.
I saw an interview with him the other day where he was saying he told Tim Burton, and they wanted to go back, scale it back in terms of like they want to do more practical
Yep.
effects and makeup, blah blah blah. Maybe some like CG with like the sandworms and crap like that. Um, but he goes, I want to do it like I almost did with the first one, where like I'm only really in the film for like 15 minutes total, which is very admirable.
Mhm.
However, I think I mean, look, I, I don't know. Like you said, I'm not in love with Jenny Ortega having the lead carry. I don't think she could carry the film. I hate, I think you really should have Winona carry it, and her daughter come along for the ride, clearly. But I don't know, something about the trailer, just something seems a little off in terms of the. I just hope it's not just a remake of the. That's what I'm most concerned about because I know like something like the husband dies and so it's not like
Yeah.
a couple dies and they see them again and some crap, but I just
They're
really
not
hope it's
bringing
not.
back many of the original people. It doesn't seem like. I think
Yeah.
we know that what Michael Keaton's back. We know Winona Ryder's back. Um, and I think Catherine O'Hara is back. But
Yes.
I think that might be it from the original movie.
Mhm.
I don't think they're bringing back anyone else. They haven't met, or unless it's gonna be one of those surprise cameos that you don't know
Yeah.
about.
Mhm. I
Like
hope
I don't think
Otho comes
Baldwin's
back.
coming back.
Whatever happened to that guy? The guy who plays Otho?
I
The
think
the
he's
big
dead.
guy. Oh, okay.
I
Maybe that's why
think
he
he's
hasn't.
dead.
I always liked that guy. He was in
I thought he was great too, but I'm pretty
Demolition.
sure he died in real life.
Yeah. He
I
was
can
good like
find
in
out.
yeah,
Good.
he was like in Demolition Man. He was very like a
Yeah,
character actor. He was good for those kind of like wormy, like guys you kind
yeah,
of hate kind of thing,
yeah. He
you know?
died in 2010.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
somewhat recent though. Um,
he was 58.
yeah, young dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of original characters coming back. I don't think Alec Baldwin's coming back. I don't think Gina Davis is coming back unless there's some sort of surprise cameo.
Yeah.
But Alec
Mhm.
Baldwin has a lot going on at the moment, so I don't know if he's going to make it.
Yep.
Um, is he killed the guy?
Maybe he comes back as that character.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Maybe he's like, yeah.
but I'm definitely going to see this one.
Mhm. Oh yeah. I
I'm
think it's gonna make a
100%
lot of
going to see
money.
it.
I hope it's good. Like I said, I'm a little nervous about this one. It might be. I'm actually in the territory that it might be a little cringe, which I'm scared about. Like Dumber
Well,
and Dumberer, like the sequel cringe, where I'm just
the
like watching
writers
it. I'm
of
like, oh
the
god.
the reason I have some faith though is I appreciate the writers of this movie. Um, and
Mhm.
it's
I want it to be wrong, folks. I hope it's good. I don't want it to be bad.
I don't know
I
if you're
want it to be
familiar with Miles Miller and Alfred Go,
good.
but
No.
they are the writers for this, and they created and wrote all of Smallville.
Okay.
Not every episode, but they created it and were
Hmm.
producers and wrote many of the episodes. So I mean that they wrote the story for Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire.
Oh,
He wrote
okay.
the story for that.
Which is
Um,
another sequel, so which is good. That's a good
yeah,
sign.
yeah. He wrote, and I actually like this movie, though a lot of people don't. But they did the story for Lethal Weapon 4,
Oh, okay.
and I
So
think
another sequel. Another
another
sequel, like
sequel.
catching a little
Yeah, they were executive producers on Wednesday on the Wednesday Addams TV show. So they have a pretty good the catalog of work that they've done, which makes me feel a little bit
yeah.
better about it.
Hmm. Right, and
They
and you mentioned some good ones that are sequels. They made those are
Yep,
very admirable films. So especially Spider-Man 2. It's probably I
yeah,
know it's considered one of the best
yep, and
comic
they
book
wrote
and
that, yeah.
sequels. Yeah. So
So
that's it. All right.
they wrote some of the Mummy video games. I don't know if they actually wrote any of the movies for the Mummy, but they wrote the video games that were based on the movies.
Okay.
So they have done big franchise work before. They've done, like you said, sequels. Um, so that the writing piece of it, I feel like will be good, knowing that they were involved in it. Um, so that gave me a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
And then the
Hmm.
director is Tim Burton. Obviously, he's going to put his spin on things, and I'm sure he's involved in the story somewhere. So I think it could be good.
Yeah.
It could
No.
also be absolutely terrible. But
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be pretty good.
Yes. Like I said, I just hope it's not. Like I said, when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Yeah. I
um.
feel like there's gonna be a third one, and it's gonna be called Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
mm, yeah.
That's
Depending how much money this one makes. Yeah.
I could see there
Mhm.
being one more just so they can do that third Beetlejuice movie.
I do think Wolverine and Deadpool is going to make the most money for the
Mhm.
summer blockbusters. Then Beetlejuice, and then after that, I think it might be just like a toss up between like. Honestly, I think Twisters might make decent more money than people think, in my opinion.
I think The
And The
Crow is gonna
Crow,
be up there. Yeah.
yeah, and then or actually, no, I lie. Um, the animated Inside Out too, Despicable Me.
Mm.
They're going to be up there, but there might. I think the top three is going to be I'll say four is Deadpool number one. I think
Yep.
absolutely. Then
Absolutely.
like maybe I'll say Beetlejuice, and then Inside Out too, and then Despicable Me. That's gonna be your top
I
four,
agree. I
and
think those are
maybe and then
definitely the top
five,
four.
maybe
And I think you've
Twisters,
put The
and
Crow in
the
that top
rest.
5 spot.
Oh, okay, that's a
Yeah.
toss up. Yep.
I think The Crow makes the top 5 spot for me.
Hmm.
Not that I think it's gonna be great, but
Yeah, and these aren't summer films, but I think these are going to make a lot of money. These are coming out, I think, in November and December, and we will definitely talk about these as they come out. More sequels, Joker 2, which
oof.
we're all nervous about, and I'm even more nervous for the following one, Gladiator 2.
If
Um,
ever there was a movie that nobody wanted, it might be Gladiator 2.
yeah, that talk about not needed, not necessary. Oh my lord.
I mean,
Um,
what could it be about?
yeah, I mean Russell Crowe character is dead. I mean, I guess what was the Caesar's the woman in the film. I can't think of her name. She
I
was like
mean,
she was taking like she was like uh,
yeah, but the
Joaquin
movie's gonna
Phoenix's
be about
sister.
her.
I think her son Lucius.
Okay.
So I guess he grows into a
Eh,
man now. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm assuming that'd be the most practical thing to do. But PJ, a pretty rough month, rough couple of months for summer blockbusters, in my
you ain't
opinion.
kidding.
Definitely not the strongest films to really look forward to. And whether you want to contribute that to streaming has killed this stuff, or we live in a different world, I don't know. But definitely not a good too many sequels, my lord. And hopefully, my
I
prediction, PJ, is let me just finish this quick thought. I
yeah.
think after this, I mean, you're always going to have sequels. I think, especially with streaming being, look, it is here to stay. You might, and I hope you're going to have the comeback of mid-tier films, which is like those smaller one-off films that we talked about a few weeks ago about
Yeah.
like Devil's Advocate, your even like a movie like Speed, or Talented Mr. Ripley. I mean, these are old films, or like a movie like Swordfish. You're kind of ones and dones, not huge budget films, kind of these mid tier levels that you could just put on streaming. So we might get a whole rush, a gold rush of unique original films that are somewhat cheap to make, that are fun to watch, and not just so like this is the repetitiveness of all these sequels is exhausting to think about and to
It's all
spend
these
money on it.
franchise movies is really the only thing that are hitting theaters are big franchises at this point. You know how the superhero movies are always going to make a bunch of money. They'll always be in the theaters, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so like you said repetitive. There's nothing new. I think we went through a whole list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 13 or 14 movies. I think if I see 3 or 4 of them in the theaters, I mean that's the most I would go to see,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that's a shame. It's a
I
shame.
agree. It's yeah. I remember us dude as kids. We used to like, look in the newspaper, find the
Yeah,
time and go. But
yeah,
that was the thing to do. But anyway, what a different world. But yeah, not the strongest list. And like you said, PJ, I definitely seen Deadpool, definitely The Crow, definitely Beetlejuice, definitely those three. And I would like
yeah.
to see Twisters in theater, but those three for sure I'm seeing in theaters. And oh boy, PJ, before we wrap things up, I have a quick question that I wanted to
Okay,
ask. We were talking about
sure.
Deadpool and Wolverine. As
Okay.
you know, the movie Dune came out with these very fancy popcorn buckets
Yes.
that were also used for other reasons besides popcorn. So my first question is, do you want a Wolverine popcorn bucket?
So I try to get all of the superhero popcorn buckets when they come out for the sole reason of they're so hard to get that if I'm lucky enough to get one, I can flip them in the store pretty easily for a
Ah,
decent amount of money. So I
right,
probably will try to get one for that reason.
right. Are they coming out with a Deadpool bucket too?
I they might be. I thought I saw something about it, but they are gonna have a Wolverine bucket.
Yes, the Wolverine. That was they made like a funny like promo
Yeah,
with that. And my
yeah.
other
But
question,
I do try to get the buckets for the superhero movies. Like I said, they sell out so quick in like minutes, and then you can't get them anymore. If you're
yeah,
lucky enough to get one of these popcorn buckets, I could resell it in the store pretty easily.
yep.
So that is why I do want one.
And my other question is I do think Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is going to wear the iconic mask, whether it's like
Yes.
when he first appears to meet what's his face, Ryan
Yep.
Reynolds, Deadpool. He's probably going to have it on. Then it's going to get destroyed, and then you obviously you want to see his face. You know, that's
Right.
the whole thing. You want to see he's not Deadpool. You want him to emote.
Right.
And then I think towards the end, I'm sure they'll have big kind of action sequence. Maybe they'll do like like an Arnold Schwarzenegger where they put on their body, their
Yeah.
body with the war paint,
All
and
right.
he'll put the mask on. Then he'll get destroyed, so you can see his face again. But he's definitely gonna have it on at least twice in the film.
I would say so for sure.
So,
I actually think at this point, because he's been Wolverine for so long, you could leave him in that mask the whole movie. You know what I
oh
mean? Like
yeah, you could.
I think, and
You
I
could.
would, they won't, but I think they should have left him in the. I also would like to have seen him in other Wolverine costumes.
You
If
well,
they're
you
gonna,
might,
yeah,
you might, because no, it's with this film. It could be like a gag. They can make
yeah,
jokes. Like
yep,
um, you have another superhero in there, like another Doctor Strange type character who can like basically magic and keep changing his outfits and him getting
yeah,
mad. Like and
yeah.
puts him in
Like
the
I'd like to see him in
brown
the
and
brown and yellow and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, I would
they
like
could
to see more of that.
they're gonna definitely. I definitely think he's gonna be in those other costumes, whether it's for a joke or it's some kind of action
Yeah,
sequence. Um, but yeah, folks, let us know if you're gonna check these films out. If you're excited for them, you're gonna bother seeing them. But yeah, rough couple of months for summer. But hey, we gotta make the best of what we have. Okay, guys. All right, so pre-order your Wolverine buckets. Same time, same table.
see you at the movies.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.